What? Bang!
Whoa! Wrestling Podcast. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the question.
Rep, screwed, rep.
Yeah!
Woo!
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Did he do it? Unbelievable!
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am Macho King Savage.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty. I said WWE stands for...
It's me, Austin! I will never retire!
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Hey, look, are you sick and tired of dropping a ton of cash every single year for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? You gotta stop. Put that cash back in your pocket and pop over to Wrestler Unstoppable, available totally free. All you have to do, go online, find your web browser, go to app.wrestlerunstoppable.com and sign up today, totally free, where you could create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline PLEs, even build your own corporation from the ground up, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable. Like I said, totally free. Do it right now, app.wrestlerunstoppable.com. And while you're in there, do a search for Odin Maximus. That's my avatar. I'll be happy to help you get started in the game. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, want your name in the shout-outs like John, my good buddy down in Texas, then you gotta pop over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. We do have loyalty rewards this month. Special pricing on loyalty rewards. $10 a month, you get to co-host a show with me. $5 a month, enter into a drawing to also co-host with myself. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you've got questions, you've got anything you want me to talk about in a future episode, the only way I'm going to know is if you reach out. The Pro Wrestling Sound Off line, 267-642-1160. It's a talk-to-text service. Tell us what you want us to talk about, and I will get into that in a future episode. Tonight, got to talk contracts, plans, new signees, all that kind of stuff, and a little bit of off the beaten path. No pun intended, but maybe there is a pun intended. Let's get started with the contract conversation. First off, Sheamus. A lot of conversation about when he's leaving WWE. Word came out this week, Fightful Select reporting that Sheamus' actual contract is not up until October. Theoretically, they could still do something with him between now and then. They're not releasing him early. They're letting him out of his contract in October when I guess there were option years that we were led to believe were contracted years previously. That's the way it's being explained to me now. So if that's the case, they could still negotiate something with Sheamus. They're still paying him the full salary that he originally agreed to with them. He's just refusing to restructure and take a lower deal for the continuation of his contract. And now, I don't know where he's going to go, but if he's getting done that in October, the specifics of the release are what is so critical. If this is a contracted year release, meaning he was supposed to work these years and they let him go, then there would be a no-compete clause. If somehow those were voidable years and they are not vested years, then he would be free to work for somebody in October. If not, you're talking about January, which honestly might be a really good idea for him to consider New Japan Pro Wrestling, because the beginning of January is when you're looking at the Wrestle Kingdom show, and that would be a phenomenal location for him to debut. You could do a whole angle where some mystery opponent is coming to face somebody. I don't know who you'd put him against in that roster right now. Gabe Kidd maybe would be a pretty popular one. You could do something with, actually, let's be honest, anybody in the Dogs would be a great opponent. Shota Umino, if he's back by then, he's out right now with concussion concerns. Zack Sabre Jr. would be a phenomenal matchup, something we've never seen before. So at least not in the American soil. I honestly don't know if I would imagine they've probably mixed it up in the UK prior to becoming superstars, but I'm not quite sure. I have to look that up on YouTube or something myself. But definitely an interesting update to his contract. Likewise, Bayley. Her contract runs out at the end of the year. If you look at the poster that Mercedes Moné put up on X months ago, teasing facing Bayley under her pre-WWE independent name, and I apologize, I am forgetting the name, Navina Rose, I believe was the name, at WrestleDream being 3 months after her contract would expire, is a very interesting post now when you find out when her contract is due. However, there was a report out today, and I apologize, I don't remember where. Look, let's be honest, every news agency out there reports all the same stuff. So pick one, cite them, it is what it is. We'll go with the Wrestling Observer Radio, stating that Bayley's contract is coming up at the end of the year, and that WWE would like to retain her services, that it doesn't really matter whether she goes to WWE or AEW, somebody's going to pay her a huge contract into the multi-millions across several years. WWE would like to retain her. AEW obviously would love to get her. The difference being, in AEW, Tony Khan does pay for transportation, for travel, for lodging, and WWE does not pay all those things. They also allow their talent to do outside projects. She'd be able to do that. She loves doing these training sessions, helping up-and-coming superstars. There's also conversation about if you put her on the con circuit, going to WrestleCon and things like that, that she would be one of the most sought-after meet and greets on the circuit. So think about all the residual money she could add to whatever contract AEW would offer her. It's going to make it a very interesting time. WWE would have to match or exceed that offer by a significant amount of money, I would think, if she's doing the most financially responsible thing for herself. Then again, she may just be comfortable in WWE. Maybe she wants to try something else. She's been in backstage at AEW shows to support Mercedes Moné. She's definitely friendly with people who are there. However, Tony Khan never talks contract stuff. He does not break the code, basically, negotiating with somebody when they're with another company, and I really respect that about Tony Khan. So we're not sure what she's going to do, but what I found really, really interesting today, she finally broke her silence and put out a post talking about the events of Monday Night Raw, having Lyra turn on her and losing her partner, losing her friend, and everything that happened to her on Monday night, and talking about how she has to push through and, come back better. And it's like, well, that almost sounds like she's coming back. And a lot of people were thinking that this was an angle that was done to write her off of television to be done with her. I don't know where it sits at this moment, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's all intriguing. It'll get people talking. One contract that we now know, whether you count the post by TNA Wrestling or you just go by what happened on NXT last night, Mike Santana is a WWE NXT superstar. It appears at this point, looks like he's going to be challenging Tony D'Angelo for the NXT Championship in short order. I'm a little surprised they didn't put him right to the main roster with all the momentum they have with people like Rey Mysterio, Penta, Rey Fenix right now, how much they're pushing AAA. You really would get the thought process that he could really have jumped right to the main roster and done some really exciting things, El Grande Americano type stuff. But instead, he looks like he's going to go to NXT for a little bit, get acclimated to WWE's television systems and how things run. And I'm sure in short order, he'll be on the main roster. But let's be honest, NXT really needs to bolster the male side of the roster. The women's side is stacked. Absolutely stacked to the mountaintop. But WWE's NXT branded men's division, very lacking right now. So this is a huge name, a huge get. Beyond Tony D'Angelo and Naraku, there's really like nobody who's a premier fighter in NXT right now. So this adds one more to the fray. Let's go one more contract conversation. AJ Lee in the news talking about her contract when she came back to WWE, that she is getting paid the same money that CM Punk is getting paid. Now, fascinating for a couple reasons. One, you're talking about a female talent who they typically don't get as much as the men. I am not trying to be sexist. That's just the truth. And when you think about it, Punk is making far more appearances than AJ Lee is to be breaking in the same kind of dough. No one could deny her return to the company was one of the most viral moments of the year for WWE. Her matches at the Rumble, at Chamber, at Mania they're just incredible. But you would like to see her more on television if she's going to be raking in that kind of dough. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how things play out over time. But I really do suspect that she's going to be teaming with Paige in short order to go against the Bellas, because Nikki's about to come back. They've lost that women's tag team championship now. It almost writes itself. You could do Fatal Influence, all three members versus Nikki, Brie, and Paige. Have Nikki, Brie, and Paige lose, and that's how they turn on Paige now. And then have AJ Lee be the one to come into her, save her. I think it makes all the sense in the world. Speaking of things that made sense and no longer do to me, thoroughly thoroughly throws me for a loop. If you pay attention to WWE Unreal, it's very clear that Braun Breaker was actually discussed to win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania to challenge for a world championship. That was revealed. It's obvious that they had him earmarked to be a main eventer, and now he couldn't be further from that. I guess that's not entirely true. He could be a jobber. His spears still look ferocious. He's still a premium talent, incredibly athletic. I actually think his mic work has gotten increasingly better, and all you need to do is look at the pop he got in the dark match when he and Obafemi faced off in Europe to know just how over he still is when given the right opportunity. But WWE is fumbling him right now, and he's obviously frustrated. Reports came out last week he wants out of the division, and this may be a big part of why when you go from being a guy talked about to be in the main event of WrestleMania to a guy who's barely in a tag team and you're the fourth fiddle in your faction, it's a little disheartening. And I imagine it would be very hard for him to accept a tough pill to swallow, so they better figure something out. The guy's just going to be disgruntled forever. Tom Brady, as we know, got into a physical altercation with Logan Paul, slapping him in the face. And word is that they are still negotiating. They are having ongoing conversations between Tom Brady's representation and WWE. Nothing has been finalized yet, supposedly. I find it hard to believe nothing's finalized, or else why would you do the slap if it's going to be something that never gets paid off? Then again, look at WWE and how frequently they do stuff that never gets paid off, so maybe that's possible. Maybe Logan Paul and Tom Brady were like, listen, we should do the slap anyways just in case we can make this happen, and WWE hasn't put pen to paper yet. I think it's very obvious they would like to, and I've laid out in a previous episode the plan that I think they should follow to make that happen. We'll have to wait and see how that works. I really expect Brady to be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, leading to a match with Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Big news coming out for Vince McMahon. Janel Grant has agreed to the arbitration, and there are certain elements of an agreement like this that are very pertinent to discuss. She's going to get paid. And I would suspect we're never going to find out exactly how much, but I would imagine she's probably going to get not much more than what she originally would have gotten. So she'll get paid, but she is never able to bring another lawsuit related to these charges ever again. And it's sealed. We'll never know. It's going to be a mystery. Another one of WWE's great mysteries. If you go back all the way to the 80s when Vince McMahon took over the company, whether it was the steroid situation or Superfly Jimmy Snuka and the loss of his former girlfriend who had head trauma and looked like somebody had headbutted her in the back of the head, and somehow Jimmy Snuka got off scot-free until he was so senile he couldn't stand trial. There's always been different things where Vince McMahon has weaseled his way out of serious situations. The Rita Chatterton accusations about him being inappropriate with her in a limousine. Various other people, Maria Kanellis and, I'm forgetting her name right now, went to TNA, redhead, Playboy model, I cannot remember her name, Christy Hemme. There was some conversation about some shady business there. I don't know. Sable had some accusations. None of these things come to fruition. He finds a way to wiggle his way out every single time, and this is yet another time where it's going to go away and we're never going to hear any resolution. We're all just going to have to draw our own conclusions in our brain, which I think at this point pretty much everybody has. Either you think this is a very creepy, manipulative old man who just does these horrible, heinous crimes and gets away with it, or you think these are consensual adults who had a really strange relationship and one had cried the boo-boo face when he tried to break it off and then didn't pay her the hush money he agreed to pay. I don't know. I don't know where I fall. I don't have all the details because I'm not allowed to see the court testimony or all the evidence. So we'll have to wait and, just speculate the rest of eternity on that one. And the last thing tonight in this episode, Stone Cold Steve Austin in the news, Night Vision 250 stock mod category in an off-road race in Fallon, Nevada. Stone Cold winning his division. Came in 16th out of, I believe, 32, 36, something like that, vehicles total. But all those other vehicles would count other categories too, off-road trucks and things like that. In his specific mod category, stock mod category, he took first. So congratulations to Steve Austin. This is not the first time he's won a race. This is something he's really sinking his teeth into right now, and it's just wonderful to see him making an impact in another avenue. That guy, no matter what he does, he just does it well. From wrestling to acting, this stuff, all kinds of things, former football player, everything. Just that guy, he's all go. That's a man's man right there. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. We'll run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, goes to Suno for creating the music and sound effects we use in our show. Today's podcast sponsored in part by Beezle Games. Bring a new friend to family game night. It's easy with the game Sketchy People, available right now. Pick up your copy at thegamecrafter.com. If you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college, university life, maybe you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking some time with us tonight. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.